How much of your success do you give to your name, Monarch Roofing?
I can create 60 pieces of content a day, but it's got to be good quality. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
If you would lose everything today, like Monarch Roofing is gone and you have to start over, would you start over?
And I interview 100 people to hire one inside sales. To really hire the person we want, it could be 100.
Martin, I would like to start with the immigrant story. I met a lot of immigrants, a lot of successful immigrants, but I don't think I know any French business owners in the roofing space. Tell me, when did you move to the United States and how was that transition, and how hard it was for you to open a business? You have accent, I mean, you're not native speaker. Let's go there.
That's a great question. I'm from the French part of Canada, so it's not that much different in Canada than the United States. So that's a good thing about culture, a lot of resemblance. But I was really good at golfing growing up. I went to school, I qualified over a weekend. I had some classes. They took 12 kids to go to this special school. So I moved away when I was 13 years old. And we had school from 7:30 to 11:30, and we play golf every afternoon. So in the winter in Canada, it's really cold, there's snow. So we practice inside with golf balls and nets. We became like a little machine. The environment to grow golf was perfect. But we came to Myrtle Beach every year for 3 weeks in the winter to practice. So I fell in love with this, definitely this area. And then I kept playing golf, but
why golf? Not hockey?
My dad was playing a lot of golf. I ran a little bit of family. You know, I played a lot of hockey. In the summertime, I was a little bit bored. I played a little bit of baseball, but golf was something I could control because you can play golf all the time.
You know, golf is not a real sport. Do they have it in the Olympic Games?
You can tell that, yes. In the Olympics.
They do?
Second time now.
Second time? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm behind. All right, you got me now. If it's Olympic Games,
come on. But yeah, no, you're right. And Tiger will change the sport. I think that the vision of what it is, I think it helped to be in the Olympics now because I think it was the mindset before. But so I didn't speak English. So I was really good at golf. I knew I could play. At that point, my goal was to play golf in NCAA in the United States. Long time dream. So I was good at golf, but I didn't know English. So I applied to become an exchange student. It's not a story I told many people, but I want to become an exchange student to learn another language, English. So when we're going through the interview process to become an exchange student, one of the questions, the panels you have, there's a bunch of kids that want to go different places. They ask you where you want to go and why. And one kid says, I want to go to Japan, I want to go to Germany, a different place, like really around the world. And I said, I want to go to Florida. They're like, Martin, do you realize it's not even a country? So that was my mindset. I want to play golf and I have to be in the United States. I'm like, I want to be as south as possible to learn English and keep playing golf. I ended up in Pennsylvania, and to me, it was Florida, believe me. So I learned English there and got to play a lot of golf, got a scholarship to play golf in college. And my dream came through. St. Francis University in Pennsylvania. I graduated and then moved to Myrtle Beach.
Tell me the story behind Monarch Roofing. Did you come up with a name? How did you become a contractor?
So I think it's a similar story to like you've gone through, and a lot of contractors can relate to this. Like it's not easy when you start, right? A lot of hard times, but I didn't have an office. It didn't start with silver spoon at all. I was driving my Cadillac car to try and sell a roofing job, right? I was a truck, the chuck in the truck for sure. So
But how did you get in construction? Was it your background? Was it side jobs? Like, how did you get in construction?
Okay. Great question. So I was working a golf course when I came here, making $6.90 an hour, not making means. So I started working at night parking cars at a local club here. So I could make tips, which was awesome. Financially, it was a great place. And then I would park, Dimitri, those cars, man. This guy had an F-350 diesel truck. The other guy had a Hummer with big wheels on it. And I don't know if you remember the screens that would come out before they had screens inside. 15 years ago. So they made it, man. They were all young. They were 25 to 30, like young guys, and they were partying. I'm like, my man, are rock stars. Like, how do you do that? What's going on? They're all contractor, siding, drywall, concrete, and that was 2007. So I saw one by one, all of them go out of business. They stopped coming to the club. Like, where is this guy? You know, like they would give me $20 to park their car, 20 feet away. So in my mind, I didn't know too much about construction.
And you were making like $6.99.
Yeah, I'm getting destroyed, and that's tough industry in the golf industry for that. Yeah, I'm not making means, but I'm like, how do you are a contractor and party till 3, 4 in the morning and be up at 6. Because I know contractors didn't know too much, but they work from sun up to sundown, right? Like that makes no sense. So I started asking questions. I say, how are you gonna get up tomorrow to do your job? Says Martin, it doesn't matter. If we get kicked out of a job or not, it doesn't matter because there's so much work out there. I'll just go see the next contractor. I'll go see the next contractor that we're working subcontractor to general contractor. I'll just keep going, doesn't matter. I'll make money anyways. So there I'm like, my gosh, you guys don't understand the privilege that you have because I'm working 2 jobs, barely making means. You guys work half the time and you have a lot of fun, leisure time for sure. So that in years later, Dimitri, I find out like it was my motto after that became to take the con out of contractor. I became passionate about homeowners, obsessed with homeowners to do the right thing because I'm like, it's not fair for a homeowner that pays to get a service done and the job is not done properly. People don't show up, they're not professional.
And they don't care because they don't care. They know, especially before review age, right now reviews are huge because if you cannot get away anymore with a bad shoddy work. And even if you don't want to create online platform like, profiles, they will do it for you. And I know a lot of contractors hate it. I hate it too, but for example, let's take, BBB or Yelp. I mean, hate it or love it. A lot of contractors would not create a profile, but if you're the contractor, I can go and create profile under your name, like Monarch Roofing on Yelp, and give you 1-star review, and you're gonna hate me for the rest of your life, but there's nothing, like, people can't do it. It's not my business, but I did not create, funny fact, I did not create a Roofing Insights profile on BBB, but we have BBB profile.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, someone did, or BBB did, or they pull information, data from somewhere. But before that, you're absolutely right. All those contractors, that attitude, there's plenty of work. If this company is not gonna work, or this homeowner is not gonna hire me, I go to the next. So how did Monarch Roofing came about? How was the company was born?
Okay, so at that point, there was nothing, right? I was just me, and then my office was at FedEx Kinko's. I love these guys because they had little computers you can rent. So I went on there and I started typing for the name Monarch.
Why Monarch?
Yeah, my contractors, the first was to do business with general contractor. I didn't really think about homeowners like roofing directly. It was mostly I would work with GC.
You named your company Monarch Roofing to work for
a little bit
your sub business.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm on the computer and I'm typing what name could it be? So I'm like, I want to be the best. And I'm like, I'm totally stereotyping this thing. This is totally wrong. But I am thinking the contractors are probably gonna be white Americans. They're probably Italian based. I'm like, all right, let's type in Italian what the best would be. Monarchy came out. Like, oh, that's it. The best kingdom, Monarch, the crown, like in seconds. It didn't take long. I'm like, that's it. We have the company. And then we started doing some drawings for the logo, yes. But that was really a Google search to the best. You deserve the best came from this. The crown or our culture is based about that. So it all came out from a simple Google search.
Very cool. So what year was that?
2007.
2007. So you've been in business 13 years?
14. Yeah, just 14 now, yes.
Wow, it came a long way. So tell me about your first year in business. What kind of jobs did you do? What did you learn?
I had to learn
Who was
everything.
your first couple of hires?
Well, I'll tell you about our first metal job. It was a significant job. So we're so proud of this. I called my brother. We got this big job in Conway, and I can even drive you there today if you want. But I'm so happy because it's a $33,000 job. Like, I'm making $6.90 an hour. $33,000 job. It's a jackpot. I can't believe we got this job. I'm so excited.
Was it for the contractor or direct to the consumer?
For a general contractor. It was a plaza.
Got it.
So it was a pretty large project for commercial. There was not that much back then. 2007,
Sure.
It was
Still,
pretty slow.
33.
Yeah, I'm excited. Then I do the numbers at the end, and again, I don't know what I'm doing. Got a college degree in business administration, which helps me about business a little bit, giving me some reflex. But it costs to do the job, material and labor, $38,000. So we lost $5,000 on the metal roof. I'm like, oh my gosh, disaster, right? I'm totally broke. I didn't pay myself. I didn't pay my gas. There was no overhead as far as office. But I had to work even more at night and I was going to the metal roofing
to pay for the job.
Yeah, but these guys were cool. Like every week, let me try. Let's say I make $500 this weekend on Saturday, or we're bringing $500. Then I was bringing for months and months, and after a month, actually, they started selling me more product. I was not paid. Like I had a bill for, I think it was probably $8,000 that was behind on payments, but they let me pay because I was paying them every week. But it was awesome because through pains, if you are alert and you learn from your mistake, you need pains, otherwise you're not going to learn it. So it was a major pain, but at that point I'm like, I know exactly how to price metal roof. I got it. And I don't have kids and there's not that much, it's just me, right? So I can take on the pain myself. So I went through it, paid it off, but I knew metal and then I could bid metal jobs. We made it up 10 times after, but when it happened, I called my brother back, says, yeah, by the way, that big job, I thought we were going to do well. It was a disaster. So it cost, the first 4 years, it was really reckless because I needed to find out, I didn't know anything about construction. And again, most guys don't, but it's probably not the best way to do it. Probably would suggest anybody to work for somebody for a couple of years.
It's like a school. I mean, 4 years, think about it. You could go to college, get a degree in 4 years, and then still start zero field experience. But now you take the 4 years like education, and after 4 years you have a degree in construction.
Yes, yeah, you're right.
In a way, that's how I always looked at. Well, came a long way. I absolutely enjoyed the tour today. The first question I have about your company today is why your bathrooms are locked. Why there's a key? It's like a guest. That puzzles me, honestly. I go around like, what the heck is happening here?
The key and the lock, that's first time, like they just created this today. I don't know, it's because you were coming here. I'm not sure what happened there, but.
Because even right now, I went there and someone was looking for the key and those guys have a key. These people have a key. Why not open bathroom?
I think there's a men's bathroom and a women's bathroom, I believe. It's a good question. We'll get with Rob on this for sure, but that's all I can really...
It's just so weird. It's like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But because you don't have like high traffic area, like that would explain it. I mean, but it's employees thing, so it's definitely something.
You hold people more accountable. They gotta get the key so you know what went there, but you don't keep track, right? So I'm not really sure.
All right. So you have attention to details and everything. Like, I mean, this meeting, this day is written by the minute. What's going to happen? Is it you? Is it coming from golf? Is it just you have someone organizing it? I mean, where's the attention to details coming from?
It's a good question. I think the entire team were pretty driven to do what's right and be professional. I think that comes with professionalism. Like the difference between amateur and professional. The professional is ready for the event. He's coming ready. He did his 5 P's, proper preparation, produce proper result. What is it, the 5 P's? But it becomes like it's done properly. So we gotta be organized, but I think the whole team, Rob here, the GM here is phenomenal. He's super detail oriented, but he's very process driven. Just to do it right. I mean, I'm passionate I want you to feel special when you come here. That's why we had the cardboard out front and we had some surprises,
It definitely went over the board with the cardboard.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance. I'm sorry, I messed that up. But yes, so being a professional, I think that's part of it. Details, I mean, again, one of our guys summarized this really well. Mike, he's in Wilmington now, one of our sales guys, but we're doing a lot of volume. We started growing 2014, 15, started understanding what we're doing. And he says, Martin, I'm not mad if I don't sell a job. And we're not mad because I'm not making commissions, a salesman. I'm mad because I know it's not the right thing for the homeowner. They're not gonna get the best service, installation, and warranties that they deserve. Homeowners deserve the best. I'm really passionate about this. So every activities I'm doing is to make the company better. So if I gotta be more specific on details, we're not competing with anybody, so we're just trying to be the best we can become as a overall.
Earlier, your employee asked me which one relates the most to me. Consistent, real, own it, winners win, no excuses. Which one relates more to you?
Good question. I think they're all great, that's for sure. And I know you were talking about consistency. I think it meets you very well in the real. I think that's in you, right? Like you don't have to think about it, you're real. That's why we love your podcast. That's why we're so excited to have you here, because I don't think you BS anybody, but I use a lot no excuses because it's so easy. It's like a disease. It's called, Jim Rohn says, excusitis. So you become a disease even for sales guys. They'll come up with, it seems, best excuse in the world. Like, no, it's a fact, Martin. It's not an excuse. But their excuses are like sugar-coated lies. That's what Jocko Willing says, you know? But it's easy like, we didn't sell the roof because our price was too high. How many times do you hear this in sales, right? Easiest excuse.
It was a bad lead. They were not ready. They were just shopping around.
Yeah, easy made, right? But it's really, if you don't tolerate excuse for yourself, then you can have, you can grow from it. It's a little bit, and it relates to winners win a little bit, but one of our guys, a couple of weeks ago, we played a golf tournament. I love golfing, and I played one time last year, okay? So we played this tournament. It's in the Harbor Town, Hilton Head. A dream come true. It's a bucket list course. I'm really excited to have a PGA Tour tournament there. It's awesome. We finished playing, Dimitri, and we finished fourth. But the way it was presented as a sales guy, okay, so we're talking about mindsets like, he said, Martin, I'm so happy we won fourth place. Like, we did not win fourth place. We lost to the fourth place, right? So if you don't understand failure, then you're always winning, then you can never change. Does that make sense?
Yeah, if you're not first, you last.
But if you finish fourth, you think you won, how are you going to improve to become number one? Because you're happy at fourth. Like, no, if you're not winning, like, we failed. Let's take it. No waste, no pain. Like, enjoy the pain from this. Like, it sucks so much. But like Kobe Bryant, he lost in the finals at basketball, and they said, "What are you going to do now next year?" Well, season starts tomorrow. I'm going back to the gym. Like, wow, you're going to take a day off, man? You know, finals, you did so well. It's like, no, I got to start again because I was not good enough. It takes pain. So
that's the only way. I love it. So no excuses. Love it, man. Love it. How many employees do you have right now?
It's close to 100.
Close to, between two locations or just?
3 locations.
3 locations.
Yes.
How many people are you planning to hire this year?
A lot more. There's a lot of momentum right now, and I don't think we can hire fast enough. We create a lot of process. We'll talk about this a little bit when we walk around. My goal last year is to create better ways to hire and to train them. So we hired Alex. That all he does is recruiting. So we do Zoom interviews, afternoon at a time. Every 10 minutes, we got an interview for first interview, and just to try to attract the best people. But we got to do, before we started doing this a year ago at quarantine, because I had a baby on the way. My wife was 9 months pregnant. So with COVID, I decided to stay home. We didn't really know what it was, right? So like a little scarce. So I started doing it, and I interview 100 people to hire 1 inside sales. That's crazy. Every 10 minutes, it's a lot of people to meet. I'm like, there's something there. In the past, we would meet 5, 6, 10 people to hire 1, right? I'm like, to really hire the person we want, it could be 100. So that's a lot of time consuming. So we decided to hire somebody to do this. So,
and let's talk about it. Why do you think, you went through 100? It's dedication. Like, what you did not like in 99? Was bad candidates or not a fit? How do you determine? Because that's a big problem for a lot of business owners these days. Like, find good people. Nobody can find sales guys. Like, where do you find the best employees these days? Where to look? Like, if give advice to other business owners, where to look for good employees?
So I think it's like the 100 was a lesson learned a little bit, because I'm like, all right, we got to do something different. That doesn't make any sense. Like, that's more than a full-time job. We'll need to hire too many recruiters for that. It makes no sense. But a lot of things like we start when we do the interview. First of all, the disc needs to be right. If you're in an inside position, there's going to be a different disc, an outside position, the skill set. But the thing that we found out the most on the first interview, it would be, hey, Dimitri, tell me a little bit about Monarch Roofing. And people didn't know anything about Monarch Roofing. Like, why you don't know about Monarch Roofing? You're applying for the job. Monarch Roofing doesn't make any sense. So we're like, okay, there's a big branding missing in our company. I think the industry is doing very well right now. It's changing a lot. Like it's not so negative, I don't think, as much as it was before. So we started doing a lot more branding, a little bit of videos behind the scene, where I hired a videographer that goes around, shows what is a day in the life of a Monarch Roofing, a lot of behind the scenes. So now we're starting to, we talk about this, like, you want to put the right people in the right seat on the bus, but that's a little bit of BS, because you need to attract the right people. If you attract the right people that know your culture, they know what it's going to be once they start working. That's great. That's easier. If you hire somebody, they don't really know what to expect. Like, now they see the culture, they can quit. You went through all this time to hire somebody, and they're like, that's not what I want to do, right? That's a disaster. So by doing a lot more branding, LinkedIn, we get a lot of leads from LinkedIn, a lot of people applying. So we're able to attract people. And I think one of the best of this is probably, you can teach a class on this, because I'm sure you get a lot of people just reaching out to you that want to work.
Well, once I think we brand ourselves more for potential employees than even potential customers. And guys like Gary Vee, they'll tell you, like Gary Vee, he's over there, but Gary Vee talks about it all the time. People apply to work for Gary Vee. They want to be an apprentice. They'll work for free just because of that phenomenon, because they think he's big, and he is big, but his team is not that big. I mean, he's making like $30 million profit, and he's on stages and stuff, but people see that, they want to be part of it. I feel like when you open up yourself on the internet, we attract people like us. Like if you tell me you like my content, it tells me more about you than it tells me about me. Like people who like my content, they have my standards and my values. People think about it like Google. They made a movie, Apprentice, I think that's how it's called, a movie about two guys going through a Google program. It's a comedy movie. But why do they do it? Because they understand the power of Hollywood, and people have perception what it is to work at Hollywood or YouTube. They know roughly how much people make. They know there's a free food on a campus. I mean, we all know it. How do we know it? Because there's movies about it. There's YouTube videos about it. They branded themselves so well. There's articles written about it, and we know what it looks like at Amazon campus or all these big brands or IBM. So roofing companies have to step up. And you know what? When I travel to companies, like sometimes I'm culturally in shock. I walk in, I'm like, how do you manage to keep it in a secret? Like I come to businesses that I thought like this small, and you open the doors and you're like, shit, this is a jam. Like people need to find this place. Just like a restaurant. Sometimes you look in the map, you're like, okay, 4 stars, like somewhere in and you walk in and, oh, I did not know this was here. So, and we have that in our industry, and I feel like when you put it all out, like my company, they were super small, like Stormroof Roofing, like $3-4 million small office, but I have a lot of content, so people thought organically I'm so big, and I have people applying to work for me from out of state. Crazy stuff. Absolutely. I mean, like right now when we feature like Monarch Roofing, Apple Roofing, like these companies, this is the best return on investment for any big company out there, to invite like Roofing Insights, show the world you from inside out, from third-party validation. And it's a right audience. Like now, videos like this will help you to attract more talent, not because you're trying to sell or say, I'm hiring, but because people see your culture and they want to be part of it.
And you do this, like you mentioned this with your gutter guards review, right? Like it was not about like, I want to attract customers. Like I just want to do a review and see what's the best gutter guard. And then you got a bunch of views, then you become
number one video on YouTube right now is best and worst gutter guards. But everybody's commenting, it's like, can you recommend a contractor? That was not the intent. But when you help the search, when you help the need, now think about it. When you Google something, when you Google, like lower back pain, and Google gonna serve you with the answer. That answer comes from somewhere. So it's a business who created the content for, Google is in business we all work for Google essentially. Google is in the business to provide answer for the search. So it's crazy to me how people are not business owners, not creating content for people. So if there is a search, if people in Myrtle Beach asking how much does a roof cost, if you don't have a piece of content on that topic, YouTube will never suggest this answer. And how many times you search something and you get an article, like yesterday we have a guy here with the kidney stones, and I'm going on Google like kidney stones, like looking for articles like symptoms and how to treat them and stuff. And those articles come from hospital, and Mayo Clinic, of course, is going to have answer. And you recognize Mayo Clinic. I've never been in Mayo Clinic, but I know how powerful Mayo Clinic is. And I'm reading, it's like, hey, Mayo Clinic says that you cannot eat this anymore. But that's authority right there. When I needed answer, Mayo Clinic had a question. Mayo Clinic had that answer. Google stored it. When Monarch Roofing will take their content game to another level, like for me, I would do videos on, can you install roofing in a roofing shingles in wintertime. That's the search-based content. If anybody in any
I'm
winter...
write this down if you don't mind.
Sure.
It was good.
You know what I mean? Like,
Content
if you
based.
create a video on can you install shingles in the wintertime, if anybody ever search for it, like Roofing Insights will have answer, and people like, it's just connecting the dots. How much of your success do you give to your name, Monarch Roofing? Would you say it's important? Would you say not everything? Is it 10%? Is it 20%? Your branding, your image, like your company name?
Okay, great question. So it's a full question. The name is critical, I think, because when we started, it would have been easy to say it's Martin Pettigrew Roofing, you know. And we had this big event a couple months ago. It's Monarch Roofing. There was a summit with all sales guys 2 days, and one of the point was it's not Martin Roofing, you know, that you're here. It's not about me. It's about everybody. Monarch Roofing is for everybody. It's not. You have Amazon or you have Ford. Ford is a good company's name, but I want to work for Apple. I want to work for Amazon, where it's not one person that's on a pedestal. It's everybody. The crowns, we say one crown, it's everybody united together. I think that makes a big difference for the culture and why we're doing this. We're doing this for Martin. No, don't do it for me. Do it for you. Do it because you like sales. Okay, perfect. We put you in a sales position. You're going to be fulfilling. You're going to sell more. You're going to be, we talk about winning culture, but more success a company has, you start winning and it's fulfilling, it's positive. That was, the name was very important.
There's just so many people underestimate it. I tell people all the time, the name is crucial because same thing here. When I named my company Storm Group, like I wanted to sound bigger. Like our group, like Storm Group sounded like big organization. People did not hire Dimitri, they hired Storm Group. And I remember homeowners telling me like, you cannot be the owner, you're too young. I'm like, yeah, sorry to break your heart, but I'm the owner of this business. I love it. I love your name. I love everything about branding. I mean, you do everything that I teach and I've done. And I mean, this is just absolutely amazing to see it at work. What would you name as a number one secret, if there would be a secret to success at Monarch Roofing? Like number one element, ingredient. I know it's a combination of things. It's all these little pieces, but there's one thing that really separates you and you say like, because of that, we're successful.
It's a fully loaded question for sure.
I mean, is it a culture? Is it a process? Is it something, I mean, like, what is it?
I mean, in culture is easy to say that. Everybody talks about culture, so I don't know, like process.
It's a popular word now too.
Yeah, I know. It kills me because I feel like it's thrown around a little bit. Until you feel it, you go to a company, you can really see the difference. I think our customer obsession is very, again, it's not one thing. I can't say one thing that makes a difference.
Putting customer first?
Yeah, customer.
Would you agree that customer is always right?
They're always right. They lead us. That's my competition.
Really? It's so funny. Like so many companies fight me on it. Like so I always say, customer is always right, and it's like no. And like contractors becoming so picky. Like no, I choose my customers. I pick my customers. Like how can you? Like,
yes. Okay. So
let's talk about customer service. Yeah. Why customers are always right?
Customer obsession is very important because our goal is to customer acquisition is our goal, because we believe that if we don't sell a roof, it's a disservice for our community deeply, okay, as a rule for the whole company. So we got to sell everything. We got to make sure that we go see you need a roof, you have some problems, we're the solution for you. So every decision we make is to create more opportunities for the company. We have to be customer based. And it's the difference between customer service. Customer service come with, if you don't have clients, you cannot service them, right? So it's got to be customer acquisition first, then you can service them. It comes in through other channels, but we make long-term decision all the time. I'm not interested in making decisions going to last for today or having a big truck that's lifted up. It doesn't make sense to me. I want to make long-term decision with the building. It's investment, great. And innovation. I love innovation. I went through quickly on this side, but we do a lot of research development that for us, it's a lot, but I don't think it's a lot for many big companies, but we're trying to advance and make things faster. But no matter what, it's got to be customers and it's got to be user friendly. That's my passion. So I think in some questions I have for you as well, man, I'm seeing the industry changing so much. Okay, we talk about monopolies that are building a little bit of manufacture and distribution roofing. I don't know who's going to win, how it's going to be, but you can see companies acquiring other companies been going on for a while, and you have distribution that are having all the data right now, and if they control all distribution, then they know all the customers, where they are, their name, their size, the roof, so how can you not just start selling directly? Like, it gets a little crazy, right, for what we do. So I think if we make it easy, and that's what's going to win, like Amazon, they make it easy for customers to buy, right? Apple says this, like, you can have the best product, but really it's the ease of use. Apple, that was a speech from Steve Jobs in the 80s. It's like, there's a lot of competition out there. It's very difficult. Same thing we're saying now. But he said, if we can make it user-friendly, we'll win the game. So if we make our company easy to deal with, you talking to somebody, you're not calling a phone number that press 1 for this, press 2. You call in, you talk to somebody inside the office directly. It's a human person. We're going to give you, somebody's going to be there between tomorrow at this time. I'm going to send you an email to follow up with the appointment, what to expect, what it's going to look like. We're constantly very close with the customer. So we'll make it easy to get a roof replaced. It's not a pain. It's not going to buy a car at a car lot. It's the Carvana, right? It will make it easy. You can buy online, and I think that's the obsession that we have, to make it smoother, easier for everybody.
Wow, and it shows.
If you would lose everything today, like Monarch Roofing is gone, and you have to start over, would you start over Monarch Roofing again? And would it be easier if you do, or you think it would be harder to start the business today?
It was a lot of years of pain, for sure. To start over from this, it would be hard, for sure, no doubt. I love doing what I'm doing. It have to be something that can really make an impact. It's not about the money. So anything I can do to impact the world in my own ways, right? It's Myrtle Beach, Hilton, and Wilmington, and we're not impacting the world, but we're impacting one person at a time. So it would have to be something where, if I failed, then I didn't really make it. But if I can teach what I've gone through, and like this today, I lost a couple nights of sleep because I want to make sure we do it right. But the goal, I'm so passionate, is because I want to share what I know. That's why I was excited for you to be here. I want to show everybody, like, hey, how can you do your business better? Why not? Don't make the same mistakes that I've done. Just like you're doing, that's where you're moving on from roofing, because you can become a trainer and help others become successful. So I'm passionate about that. I think there was something there I learned, and hopefully, again, if I would be a failure in roofing, then I can probably teach my mistakes, but I've not a lot of mistakes over the years that I learned from. So I think there's a little bit.
So you would start over, and you think it would be easier?
Yeah, and maybe helping. Well, yes. I mean, the brands, and we had to start over in Hilton Head, right? When we started down there, it's funny. We do one job down there from an insurance that failed. There was 2 adjusters. They didn't approve the job. There was a hurricane. The claim was a year after the hurricane was through. So when the adjuster comes to the property, there's no damage. So they deny, but all the shingles were, the seal was broken, and there was missing shingles in a lot of places. There was a lot of repairs done over that period. They ended up approving the job, but it's 4 hours away from here. So I got to drive 4 hours back. So it was a lot of involvement in time. So but when we produced the job, I decided to go that. I'm not going to send any salesmen. I'm just going to go with a crew or guys. That was 3 years ago. Like, let's do it. Took my wife. It was great with kids. We just went over there. So we produce a job. I do some publicity. I'm like, I want to see if I can sell more job and see what Hilton Head is like. So we do publicity. That same week, we produce a job. It was a pretty good job. We sold 3 roofs that week. But every time I met somebody, there was 3 people like, all right, so tell me about Monarch Roofing. The first time, I'm like, come on, Monarch Roofing. Like, we're everywhere. I'm like, I feel comfortable because we have the trucks here in Myrtle Beach. Everybody knows us. They've seen our building. Like, it's obviously Monarch, right? But they didn't. So it was kind of starting from scratch at that point. I'm like, okay, my gosh, my presentation, I got to change everything, because I need to put a building. I need to put like what we're all about. Like, the logo needs to be out more. Like, the branding was awful. So we could do it pretty quickly. It didn't matter, that branding part. So I think you can duplicate it. At this point, we know it. And that's where it's been 3 years since we opened up another location, but we're on the verge now, because the university, like the training part, I'd say, the school, you were talking about the hiring process. We can hire a lot more people, and we have the process and the machine in place. It's becoming duplicable now. So even if you have to go back, I don't think it would matter.
Wow, very cool.
So what's your goal for this year? How much in revenue you think you're going to do?
That's a good question. We're looking at, we want to do 35 million. That's our goal this year.
So $35 million company, like, on the horizon. What sizes of business would you recognize as pivot points, or, is it 1, 5, 10, 15, or is it 7? Like, where do you see the breaking points in operations? And $5 million one size, then from 5 to 10 is almost the same, and then once you pass 10 you have to do, like, what sizes you recognize?
I think you can double your business pretty easily in the first years. I think once you reach 5-6 million, we had a little ceiling at 6 million. We did it 2 years in a row. We grew a little bit, but we went from 2 to 4 to 6, and then it was harder. But we started doing a team of managers. Like, one person owner can do a lot of sales, can create a lot of momentum, can micromanage all the decision, and a little bit of winging it on all the position at 5-6 million pretty easily. To go to more, we went from 6 to 13 that year, but it was 6 and 6 because we had to do training for managers. So I started hiring a division manager, trained them, spent a lot of time with them. So we had all the right mindset and job descriptions. So we had to really work on the business at that point to make it 13. At 6, you can wing it, you can have it in your head. At 13, you can't. And the same thing happened. 13 went to 14. It was a little blockage, and then it went to 25. So it got crazy, but it's all from 13 to 25, I was the general manager. We had the general manager all 3 locations. I was totally out of the business. It's really to be able to work on the business. 13 to 14, I was out of the business, work on the business behind the scene, implementing process, procedure. We started an intranet, all our information is online for anybody to access it. And video, I started doing videos about how to training for different position. All the process procedure were in writing at that point, because before it was on Dropbox, somewhere on my Dropbox. So if somebody needs something, I can send it to you. Now it's all online, so they can access it themselves. But from 13, we stayed there for a whole year, because that's how I did pretty much for 6 months. That's how I did at the office, at home, just typing everything, working, reviewing, checklists for everything to double check all the work.
Wow.
In 25, you pretty much feel like to 50, it'll be the same roughly?
Now it's hiring, and really it's working, and the process is working, the training's working. We create a machine, we call it a machine. So we divided all the position. Okay, so we have inside positions and outside position. Nobody does both except for the GM. The GM can do, is the go-to, can do a little bit of everything. And we divided by division to marketing, sales, production, and warranty department that are very specific for each job. So for the biggest thing was sales guys. By creating an inside and outside sales position, we love it because it becomes a team. We're talking about this, like, the salesman needs to be in front of people. Their goal is FaceTime. They gotta be in front of homeowners as much as possible. They're good with this, that's what they love to do. What happens with salesmen? They're terrible at what? Paperwork. Right? They suck at paperwork. They don't want to do it. So we created inside sales position that can do follow-up, email, text, phone call with the homeowner. So the salesman can meet customers every hour, all day. So they can focus on what they love, and inside sales can focus on what they like. By doing this, we created a team, and we got rid of commission because of that. We found out that commission guys would go really hard, make a lot of money, burn out because they work like crazy 7 days, or they would make a lot of money 1 month, like they signed $1 million contract, like out of nowhere, like crazy. Now they would slack off. So by doing this is very important. The sales was becoming optional. I don't want to make sales optional. We said our mindset is to help homeowners to get what deserve the best. I got to sell everything. If the sale is optional, it doesn't work. So we want to make sure that we sell every project. So we want a salesman that love to do sales. That's what they want to do. We're going to pay them more salary, but they're comfortable. They have enough money to pay and to live. But we're going to put in a system that they don't have to do marketing. They don't have to do door knocking. They don't have to do production activities. They do sales activities. That's been helping us quite a bit.
And what's behind it? Like, it's so crazy. I've never seen a company of your size who don't do commissions. So let's talk about salary base. Like, what's incentive for them? Because if they're sales guys, and how do you track sales guys from other companies maybe? Because if they have options to work for you on the salary and to work somewhere else on commission, for them it's more attractive to be commission based, because you work less a lot of times, you get paid more per transaction. And here you're forced more to earn it.
Yeah, it's great. I really want to hire people that love selling. So if you love money, you're the wrong person. So if you're going to make a lot of money here, you can make 6-digit on salary here in sales. Like it's not like I'm going to keep you down.
How do you justify? So what's salary based off? Like, does it still based on performance then?
Yeah, closing percentage is a big role of money that they sell. It's very important. But if you have somebody that does more HOAs, they'll sell more. If they have a territory that's small homes, now they're not going to sell. The volume's not going to be as high as far as the dollar amounts. So we look at closing rates to dictate that.
So let's say you give me $8,000 a month salary, but I go and sell $200,000. You know, I could have a $20,000 check. Now I'm getting $8,000 check. You know, see where I'm coming from? I might get pissed, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be commenting, oh, it makes no sense. Because that's not where industry is. That's not industry standard. I'm a salary guy. Like, I love salaries. I mean, we're communism, like Canada, Russia. That's why, right? But honestly, like, I pay people in salary because I feel people feel better, work better when you have the check coming in every Friday.
Yep,
It's
exactly.
kind of guaranteed.
You have family, you have kids, you want to have some stability. But if you work hard, you do and we don't expect you to work 100 hours. Like commission, you'll work a lot more. If you divide it all back, it's probably very similar but you can have your family, you can have, like, again, the burnout, I think, was coming from home pressure as well.
So what kind of lessons have you learned? Or what's your observation right now, looking back? Because I believe that when you work on salary, you're, consistency, right? You're consistent, you work 8 to 5, where if you're in a commission, you take 3 months off in the winter time and you go try to kill yourself every summer, to justify for it. Where you if you're a consistent sales guy, I assume you might take 2 weeks off, but you're 8 to 5 every day or whatever the hours are. But the same time, do you see any cons with this system?
Well, if it's understood properly, and again, it's everybody, I'm not saying commission is bad because it works for a lot of companies and a lot of people preach by it, and it's not, but I really believe, like, we talk to customer, it's not about price, it's about value, right? So we never want to be at the end of the job like, oh, your price too high, then we miss something during the presentation. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. So when you present somebody, if we pay our salesmen on money that they sell, we're driving towards numbers, and they're trying to sell on value. So they're going to start selling on numbers. And that's what was happening a lot with commission-based salesmen. They were focused so much on numbers that they would be focused on trying to go down to money. I would hear a lot of excuses. Our price is too high, which doesn't happen with based on salary. They're more driven to bring value, not thinking about money. And at the end of the week, a lot of times we're having little issues with the commission base. Like, if we don't hit certain margin, then you don't get full commission, or it's different commission. So salesmen got upset, like, well, they use an extra roll of membrane in the valley, they shouldn't use it, and they start storing materials at their house so they can finish jobs, and not, like, it got a little crazy. So, and they were always worried about what the check was at the end of the week. So they spend a lot of energy on thinking about what Friday's going to be, instead of thinking about what they have to do for the day, what actually they have to do to focus all their attention towards selling, not worry about how much money they're going to have at the end of the week. That was a big pressure, especially salesmen that we hired. They're emotional, so their emotion it got a little crazy, a lot of argumentative situation. But I can definitely see a negative side on, like you're saying, if you don't have a good leader in the sales department, so they can be complacent, like, oh, no, I'm doing the best I can, I'm going to sell this much. And
what's your average salesman makes? Is it $1,000, $1,500, $800 a week, $500?
It ranged from yearly, so it's about $1,200 to $3,000
a week.
Yeah.
Oh wow! So you pay someone
3,000, not quite 3,000, like 2,500, 125, something like that
per week. Do you have any bonus structure with it? No bonuses. Mm-hmm. But do you give bonuses, or just a salary? Like what if you have a very good year, and let's say you pay me $2,500, but I go sell 7 million? You're not gonna reward me at the end?
Yeah, I'll increase your salary.
Oh.
I increase the salary. So you get paid by the amount of value you bring to the hour, not by the hour, right? So when you bring more value to the company, we'll give you more for sure. But the leadership needs to be hands-on to see that, because somebody can say, well, I just crushed it. I sold, let's say, 5 million this year. Where's my increase? You have to recognize before it's asked. But we're trying to, we started doing this KPI, key performance indicator, onto activities that are not related to your job specifically, but it can be adapted to the entire company. So we started doing Google reviews, a goal for every quarters, leads generated, amount total, but closing percentage on it. And then we do quarterly activities. So let's say the goal for Hilton Head, okay, if we hit those, let's say we want to do 100 Google review, like I'm throwing out numbers, and then we want to get 200 leads, and our goal is to be at 38% closing rate. That's level 1. Level 2 is to get a little bit more, like a closing rate should be 45% and 50%. The first activity, it's going to be at one of the guys' house. We're going to have a barbecue. We all celebrate it together. We're going to go there. The second one is going to be go to a local baseball game. And the third one will be a professional. Let's say we're going to Jacksonville Jaguar football team, the whole team together. So you bring unity and team mindset through the activities, but they're not based on money or sales. They're based on things that contribute to the company output. Because I know if we do more leads, we're going to sell more roof. So how are you going to incentivize your team to get more leads? Because your sales team is awesome. So we can do door knocking from the superintendent. We can talk about Monarch Roofing a little bit more. They're going to get excited to promote Monarch. But it's all together as a big event at the end, as a reward. And it's every quarter.
Love it. Every quarter is good because you don't have to wait the entire year. And sometimes we're delusional too, like whether it's sales people or any production, like we like to sugarcoat things. You go crush 1 month and you're like, okay, like I'm killing it. Like you, even with my business, like with videographers, they'll make one good video with a lot of views. It's like, oh, like look, this video is gonna, yeah, but I'm doing 150 videos a year. You crashed one. Well, I need you to crash good video every single week. Or like, you know, you might have good job now, but then for 3 weeks, you might not have any and you still have that paycheck. I like the quarterly mindset.
Yeah, and then you're I don't know if your team was doing a lot of events, but we started doing events every quarter, but it was planned already. So there's no, like, I would just at an event, we get there together, all the money, the company's got a lot of money, we'll do an event. I'm like, that's not it. Like, we're celebrating something. What are we celebrating? So that gave us an opportunity to like, all right, you have a different stage. If you want to go crush it all together and everybody's pushing each other, we talk about every time we have a Google review, we'll put it on during a production meeting, and the person that got a Google review reads it. So in front of everybody, the leads, every time we have a lead, we have a bell lead. So you get a review today, Dimitri, tomorrow morning in front of everybody, you're gonna ring the bell in front of everybody. So he gets excitement and we keep score. So we're getting closer. So we have something to work towards.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Is there such a thing as a perfect size business, in your opinion? Like, what size of Monarch Roofing you really enjoyed so far, and what was painful? You mentioned the $6 million was painful, like, 15, 25. What do you feel like is good, comfortable size, or there's no such a thing? It's just whatever market can bear?
If you have a machine like it's built now, it's easier to say that now. That's why I'm passionate to help. Like, if I can help anybody, I'm definitely all in for that. Because if you don't have a structure, like, it's chaos. 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. It's very, very painful. I think the first couple of years, it's very exciting because you start a business. All right, I'm gonna learn so much. You learn so much, but the hours, yeah, that's it. Honeymoon period for a couple of years. But I think if you get to, with a good system, 12, 13 is good because you have a GM at that point. Before that, you can afford it. It doesn't make sense financially to do it. You can probably do it and charge more. There's always ways around it. But that's really when I started having time to work on the business fully at 7. But I was so involved in everything still. Even if I hired a lot of managers for different divisions. 13, and again, we have new construction, commercial, repairs, and the roof removal, tear off, we call it, division. So I had to hire one manager for each of those. So that's how we get to 13. At that point, I can hire somebody to be in charge of the whole system.
How come you're not burning out? Like, what's your secret for stress relief? Because most business owners, they absolutely hate this business because how many moving parts there is. Like, everybody's like, stressful. I don't want to, like, I get weekly calls from students all the time, and people call me like, I want to throw a towel. I'm done with it. tell me about your stress management, because it's got to be stressful. I've never seen you stressed, but it's got to be stressful.
I'm pretty calm most of the time, and I think, I don't know, I feel like we're as humans, we're built to survive, not to grow. So if you don't schedule yourself some pain sometimes, you love to work out, it's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. That's the best way I can. But if you don't struggle, if you don't create struggles for yourself, then you don't, you're built to survive, right? You need struggle in your life, kind of. So I welcome the struggles when it happens, an opportunity to grow. I was left home when I was 13, young, so maybe that's why. I remember hitchhiking to go to golf tournaments because I didn't have a car, right? So in Canada to go to places, I loved it. It was crazy. It didn't make any sense. But the more pains or struggle that I'm faced with, I know COVID hit, I'm perfect, because I know that everybody's panicking right now. Excellent, because I'm going to take advantage of it, because again, everybody's got the same challenge. Every roofing company you talk to, they have very similar things, right? So I kind of want to welcome it, but it's easier said than done for sure. There's disaster times when I'm not sure if we're going to make it now. Let's put our head down. Hilton Head was a great example. 2019, when we hired a general manager at that point for each location, March 1st, I stopped being involved with any of the location. I was just managing my general manager. But that division tank. In 6 months, it was nothing. So I had to go back to Hilton Head, talk about stress. Man, we're $280,000 negative. I talked to our accountant, and she's like, Martin, we got to close this place down. I'm like, we can't close it down. We're negative. How are we going to do that? No, we can't do it. We're stuck. So I said, I'm going to go back down. And at that point, it was great because, again, it was 6 months of working on process, procedure, writing everything down. And so I went down, and Dimitri, it was crazy. I had to let go, and people quit, but the office got empty. There was nobody. It was just me. I had to get the mail delivered to the neighbor. And again, at Hilton Head, I was paying her $100 a week. She was a haircut place to get my mail, because we get a lot of things from different places all the time. So we had to rebuild, but it was awesome. That's why I'm saying I wouldn't be scared to start over, because we start rebuilding according to the machine with the right people, attracting the right people. Very, very picky on interviews to specifically, you can be very picky, but if you don't know what you're hiring for, it doesn't work. So we hired, just for an example, we hired a guy that was, it's hilarious, man. Worst interview ever, Dimitri. You would never hire, I don't know if anybody would hire him, okay? He was out of military, he was 6 months out of Marine, 8 years in Marines. And in the interview, I never heard anybody not answering questions like that. So I would say, hey, Cody, his name is Cody. And I said, so why did you apply for Monarch Roofing? Well, I saw the job on Indeed, so I applied for it. Okay, do you have any roofing experience? Nope. Do you like working hard? Yeah, I work whatever hours you want. So it was so dry. But I hired him because I'm like, this guy's crazy. It's either going to be, he's not going to show up tomorrow. On the spot, okay, come in tomorrow at 6 o'clock and we'll go with paperwork. I'm like, there's 3%. I even called Rob and said, 3% chance this guy's going to show up tomorrow. But if he shows up, he's going to be a beast. And he showed up, and we've been working close together. He's crazy, good emotionally. We're best buds now. He's awesome, man. He's crushing it for us. But he learned everything from the ground through the entire process. Never had a civilian job before. But you can feel it sometimes that there's something about them that will make him successful. And that's where we start building around that in Hilton Head, rebuild the whole company. And it's very energetic. That's who asked you a question this morning. And he's one of the best. He was in the field manager, production manager. Now he's doing sales. He's number one sales in the company. He's on path to do over 5 million. Crazy, right? So we have a lot of good stories like this, but rebuilding it was the best thing, because I review all the process I had written down, but from the ground. So I'm like, that process, that was stupid. That's good in the office, but let's do it from the field. Let's changes. So I was not afraid to go back. So the failure does not really affect me. I see, and it's not easy for sure. That sucked. I could have, my wife is really nice to let me do this, because I was gone for a week, sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes just come back on Sunday, sometimes I didn't. So it was hard for the family for sure.
Wow, very cool.
Let's talk about shingle products. How important is shingle in success of a roofing company? Is it 20%, 10%, 50% of success, or it doesn't matter at all what we sell?
I think you mentioned something very important today. I think the differentiator is very important. I don't think there's there's some lower grade shingles, but overall, like we know the main players. So when we started here, I interviewed at 5 different manufacturers. It was Owens Corning, Certainty, IKO, Temco, and GAF, and meeting them. And there's not one there's a couple that were bad, but overall it was pretty good. But GAF was really awesome. The rep was really involved and started talking to me about training that they do for contractor, the product, the warranties. I think that was the beginning of the lifetime warranties and the difference with the System Plus. And I really was like, I can definitely bring value to homeowner with that. So we started doing this, but there's a lot more contractors now that are GAF, so sometimes I'm almost, yes, Master Elite. We're Master Elite for, we're 3-star President's Club, which I'm really proud of this. Not many contractors. I think there's only a few anyways in North and South Carolina, but very proud of this. And I think sometimes I'm almost wanting to have more manufacturer involved because then we can be special, but there's a lot of GAF contractors. When we started, it was 3 Master Elite. And honestly, when they offer, I was a certified contractor. When they offered me to become a Master Elite, okay, we didn't have a website yet. And I was working out of my house still, okay? So I'm like, dude, you got the wrong contractor. I'm not there at all, Master Elite. Oh my God, it was like a pedestal.
Why did they offer it?
Because we were doing the right thing. And he saw it took faith on me, I guess, and the company what we're doing, the process that we're doing, but it was not like, we were not there at all. Like, so that's far away, we're still out of my house, right? So, but I said, all right, let's do the Master Elite thing. I didn't think I could, I didn't understand selling on value and helping owners with the right warranties. And we crushed it. Within the first 2 months, we had our goals accomplished for the year. So it was awesome, yes. But I think differentiation is the most important thing. And we're big on GAF, and I just think that they're investing a lot in their product, in research and development, that they have a lot of power to focus a lot on roofing. So I love they always improving. That's something that I really value.
Give one management advice to another roofing business owner.
Management. Okay, your focus as a manager, I would say like a general manager, okay, is to create opportunities for the company, manage money. It's very important. Protect the company reputation and set expectations. If you can focus on those 4 things in your manager, I think you're gonna have success. You won't get too distracted by or not important things. I think if you should write this on your wall and review that every day. I think that helped me a lot. And I heard this from another roofing contractor. I won a GAF event. He was talking about that. I'm like, man, that makes so much sense. The general manager should really focus on this. And setting expectation is very important because you can hold people accountable for what they're doing without micromanaging, but set expectation for the whole company and individuals. Without setting, you can set, when I say set expectation, you open up another question, but I hate to set expectation on financial, like, okay, you're a salesman, you should sell 2 million, you should sell 3 million, because you create a ceiling to the potential of that person. I don't know how much Dimitri should be selling unless I have data for a couple of years. Maybe we can increase it, but it could be a storm tomorrow. There could be a different in that territory. There's a lot of things that can happen. Create a ceiling, you can create disappointment or too easy, right? It could be too easy. And you talk about this before, like you want to have a business plan. It's very important, but you have to be able to adapt. The lion's the king in the jungle, but he's not the strongest, the fastest, the smartest. It's just because he adapts the best. So that's what, it's hard sometimes to be so rigid. You want to have a plan, a target, but it's going to move a little bit.
You have 4 stars on Yelp. Almost impossible to get 4 stars on Yelp because they hide all the reviews. How did you manage 4 stars on Yelp?
Well, I think we started lower than that for sure on Yelp, and we have great reviews. I think we're Hilton Head on Google is 4.9 and something in Myrtle Beach. I'm not sure. I think it's closer to 4.67, but Yelp, and we don't do much with Yelp. I think we did a little bit. We tried to do some marketing with them, but I don't know if you have any success with them. We don't have much success.
If you don't live in California, it does not work.
Yeah, well, I think it would be good for like restaurants.
Roofing. I'm talking about the roofing industry. Yeah, restaurants, 100%.
Is 4 good, Dimitri? I feel like 4 is not good.
4 is like the best. I mean, 4 is like you out of this world.
But I don't think we have many, right? I think it's
I'll put it this way.
Yeah.
Guess Yelp rating on Yelp. They have a profile on Yelp. Like
For the entire thing?
No, Yelp
Okay.
has a profile on Yelp, and they have
Okay,
and they
I
have
got you.
reputation. Guess the number.
It's gotta be 3.
It's 2. So Yelp
Yeah.
review on Yelp is 2 stars. You have 4. You have higher reviews on Yelp than Yelp has reviews on Yelp.
Yeah.
So that's a lot.
Yes, we're doing okay.
Yeah, you're doing fine. Okay. I hate Yelp.
Yeah, we don't do much. I think we're like the profiles are set up and it's just been pretty, we don't do too much there. And I want, we talk about like, okay, how do you do marketing? So important, every business. If I give some advice, you said about manager, like marketing, the company, like we close over 70% of our jobs because of referrals. It's employer referrals, homeowner referral, can create promoters. And we don't focus on this. That's a big mistake. We go to, we need a billboard, we need Yelp advertisement, we need social media, all this, but that's movement. Less than 10% of our jobs will close from postcards. And so focus on your customer through production to do what's right, do it right, and you're gonna tell other people, and it becomes 1 becomes 3 pretty easily. So I think that's the best piece of like advice, but those website, and I know you have some stuff on Home Advisor and other things. It's so easy to throw money at it, but it doesn't work. If it's too easy to throw money at it, it's probably not something you want to be in. Unless you can, like we sponsor a golf tournament and we'll be there. We'll have a tent and we'll have some people work in it, and you can talk to golfers, you can give them some swag. If you're involved with the process, good. If you just spend money for it, man, it doesn't work very much.
It's wasting time and money. What other KPIs do you track? Is there a KPI that you track like every single day? What's the most important number for you as a business owner?
I think the closing rate is very important. You can't track it every day because it's too much. It goes up and down.
What's yours right now?
For the company, we're 53%. That's where we are, but different location, differently, different storm. If you have a storm time, it tends to go higher. If it's retail, it's a little lower. So,
what else do you track?
We track Google reviews, the leads. That's critical. We track it as a company. Very important.
How many Google reviews you get per month?
Okay, so Hilton, and we just started doing this about 1.5 years ago. I'll give you an example for Hilton Ed. I manage more Hilton Ed right now because there's not a GM yet. So Wilmington's got a great guy, my assistant, but he's really managing everything. And Rob is in charge of Myrtle Beach. So Hilton Ed, when I came back in 2019, 1.5 years ago, we had 12. And now we're at 249 Google reviews. So it works by, again, having KPI, focus on that. And they're real from homeowners, like can really, we could probably fake it, but you want to do it right from homeowners. And what we do is you can get points only if your name is in the review. So if you're the superintendent, Dimitri, and Mr. Jones will give you a review, it's got to say, Dimitri did a really good job. So it's legit, and the superintendent can get credit for it.
Yeah. Very cool.
But 1 post a day on social media, it's got to happen for all platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, not YouTube, but Facebook. 3, they have a lot of, you told me this, you have so many accounts, but each location have their own accounts. So we push that for marketing. We gotta be in front of social media. It's too easy, it's free, right? The only thing, the time you gotta put in is to create it.
Love it. Yeah, it's free.
You ever heard somebody said you're posting too much, or a debate on this? I'm always saying like, people say, how you gotta post 2-3 times a week? I'm like, well, the people that post 2-3 times a week don't have 1 million followers. People that have 1 million followers, they post all the time, right? Gary Vee.
Well, depends on the platform, and depends. Like I'm actually testing it right now with even Roofing Insights. We've been posting it every day, and some people will say, well, you post too much. They think about it, like you always want to be fresh on top of the game. Like I might not follow Gary Vee for a couple months, but I know if I go on YouTube right now and I type in Gary Vee, I've seen the most recent post. Like I've seen his post from yesterday and day before yesterday. It's hard because it's different between platforms. Like on Instagram, I mean, I post, honestly, my rule is post meaningful content. If I, like, let's say I want to be consistent and publish every day. Well, if I have allergies and I can film the video because I look like crap, or I just, I feel down, I'm depressed, I just don't have, like, sometimes you don't have. It's like you don't preach when you don't have a message. You don't turn on your camera if you don't have the idea. I teach people, like, if you don't have a clear title, what the video is going to be about, don't turn it on. And because you're going to do more damage than good. What's happening is, and I see it a lot in the roofing industry, we have a rise of podcasts, shows, YouTube. Like, everybody wants to be an influencer, everybody wants to be a YouTuber. And what's happening is this. You see it too. Like, you have war for attention. You know, like, everybody's consuming content, right? If you look at Netflix, Amazon, like, the amount of content people consume in 2020 doubled from year before. It's crazy. We used to be like 3 hours on our phones. Now it's 8 hours, right? So we always hungry to watch. Like, everybody come home and there's never enough shows to pick. It's crazy. Like, we keep creating, but we keep getting hungry, right? So the quality of the content is crucial, because what's going to happen is, if I create a bad content tomorrow and someone tunes in and is like, oh, Dimitri's producing crap now, I'm done with that guy, you're gonna go elsewhere. The reason why guys like Gary Vee can get away with it, because his content is good. Every time you listen to him, you're never gonna listen to bad piece of advice. He's always energetic, he always gives value. And what's happening with the roofing guys, and I see it all the time, it's like, oh, this is episode 278. Like, can you believe that? No, I can't believe that. And they sit for 3 minutes, talk about episode 278. It's me, right? And it's like, oh, what's your name again? Oh, what's the name of your company? Like, yesterday I listened to 2 podcasts. I have one guy in the industry who's doing content all the time. And I watch beginnings of 5 interviews. 3 of them, he asked other person, what's the name of your business? Like 3 out of 5.
Yeah,
it's like, I have a percent, like, so when you don't prepare, when you don't have a title, or another example is, we have live videos. Like, there's people who go live all the time, and they're gonna go live for 38 minutes. And you talked about everything, but about nothing at the same time. So I tell people, you don't have a title. Its title is like a movie. What are your movies gonna be about? You know, like Titanic, like, you know, we love movies and names because it's always short and sweet. The same thing, like, I don't turn on the camera. My guys know tomorrow I might not come filming because I'm not ready. If, like, it has to be perfect. Even like Shingle Guide, we took like 2 months to film because it was not done. Like, as a matter of fact, even last moment when we were ready to do it, we added 3 hours more in the prep work, because I have this huge tablet. I'm like, okay, I have this giant piece of content, and how I'm gonna review it, how I'm gonna present to people. So I called my graphic designers, like, Max, I cannot go on, like, I'm gonna lose audience, like, because I cannot keep them engaged for 30 minutes. We're gonna chop it into shorter sections, and we're gonna keep it. So what we were doing, literally, we start filming first one, and I said, I'm gonna entertain them. The only way they're gonna stay to the end if they're not gonna know who's gonna win. So we're gonna go first category, but imagine how much extra work it is. You have a graphic designer who is doing math, how it's gonna change. We already know the winner. And the table is done, but I cannot start a video with a number 1 and number 18, like, who's gonna watch it? So he's cutting me shorter pieces, it keeps moving. You add a category, okay, Aiko is like, you know, after first one, JF was at the top, now it's moved, now it's here. And guys are filming, we're waiting for the graphic designer to double check the math. And that's how I made the most boring piece of content somewhat entertaining. I mean, awesome. And you have to do it. Like, you have to think for the consumer. It's not Dimitri's expertise and genius. Okay, I have this. Like, you guys just watch. Like, it's not just as simple as show them. It's keep them, like, think about attention and the attention span and make it entertaining. Think about consumer. Like, my consumer is people who consume the videos, and you have to study the platform. Like, for example, on YouTube, it's 7 to 13 minutes. That's a golden time right now. And YouTube wants you to upload longer videos, but YouTube also have shorts videos now, and that's 15 seconds to a minute. And the reason is because they compete with the TikTok. So you have to learn how to make a short pieces for TikTok and YouTube Shorts. But then if you upload like this video, if I upload it to Facebook, it's not going to go anywhere because attention span on Facebook is horrible. Nobody going to listen 2 hours there, but on YouTube it's fine. Podcast is fine. So you have to understand and study platform. There's definitely not one recipe for all of them. And we'll talk to your marketing, Jim.
No, I know. I love this. And I have so many questions about you too, for sure, because you're doing so awesome. And I think I believe what you're saying. Like, okay, you could do, like Gary Vee says, like I can create 60 pieces of content a day, but it's got to be good quality. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Everybody's gonna, like you're saying, unsubscribe. But if you can do like the minimum, you can do 1, 2, 3, as many as you can, as long as you have good content. I love that. That's a good point.
It's just you cannot create content for the sake.
It takes time to create content. So like, all right, take a picture and put it on social media. Like, all right, what is the goal? There's a lot of thoughts behind it. And to create, how long did you record that's, I'm sorry, off subject, but how long did you create that video to have 30 minutes? How much, like, because it was chopped up a lot, it was.
I mean, I think we spent like 30 hours probably just editing, just putting it together. At the end, between 3 guys, we're actually at the end, because what happened is I announced it to be done on Friday, and we're still, like, I have the idea, but like pretty much Thursday and Friday, 2 days, I have 3 videographers. The video was like number 7, number 8, he did first 5 in the frame for the rest of them, and then the last 2, like at the end, it was 3 videographer chopping in. We have Enhancify intro. We filmed that one. He did intro. He did a commercial break. I mean, it was a truly teamwork between 3 guys to get it done on time by 4 p.m. But sometimes you have to produce it and move to the next. Otherwise, we could spend another week on it, and it's still not gonna be perfect. But it takes sometimes. I mean, I have so many videos in notes, and sometimes if I don't feel like it's finished piece, it's like writing a book or writing a picture. It's just you have to give birth to the good content.
No, it's crazy. It's not work, and you have a whole team to do this. We have a videographer, and he's doing an awesome job now. I love this guy, but there's a lot of work behind it, and we're reviewing it. Then we're seeing little things. Hey, let's change this, and it's not. He's doing it, but he's doing it so much that it needs a little bit, and it's not everybody.
And I salute you for that, to have a graphic designer. I mean, you have a graphic designer in a roofing university today, learning your process, so he knows how to do it. It's applaudable. Okay, I'm almost done. Give one advice to the homeowner.
Do your research. I mean, very simple. Homeowners, they have a lot of place where they can find a roofing contractor, but I think, it's probably a common sense, but if you go online, you can find out so much now, right? And BBB is great. There's directory now that you launch, which I'm super excited about. But there's a lot of ways to ask distribution can be a good place, maybe a fine line, maybe they're a little bit more intel to refer their customers, I would say that, but they're in the industry. But looking at Google reviews, it's easy to do, right? You just go on Google, the reviews. Ask for somebody that's got certification. It's very important. I think like Master Elite gives us some privilege because they know we've been in business for so long. We went through a process to get that. That helps. Ask for warranties. Not all roofs are the same. With the warranties, it makes a big difference. And go with who you trust. And we say this all the time, like when we sell a roof, people are not calling us to be the best friend, right? So a lot of times when, like Mark was talking about this a little bit earlier, we got to the door and we're trying to be so friendly with the person, but they have a need for us to be there. I feel like the salesman should be more production oriented and service oriented. Then I want to be your best friend. The only way we want to become friends with the person is to break the wall. So when you give you information to educate you, you're receptive. If you don't smile when I'm talking to you, when I meet you, it's your wall, the guard is up there. You're trying to sell me something, right? So I think that's a big difference for what, if you can give him a little test, like, okay, get back with me tomorrow, bring me a sample by tomorrow, give a little test for them to prove you that they're gonna be there. That would be awesome. They tell you, hey, I'm gonna call you back tomorrow. I'm gonna send you an email about pictures I took today. I'm gonna send it to you today. They're not gonna be different when they do the project as they are when they're selling to you. They're gonna be it's probably not gonna be better. So if the salesman is sloppy and they tell you, I'm gonna give you a quote back on Thursday and it's Tuesday next week, they don't have it, you have to call them back. The production's probably gonna be the same way. So I would pay attention to how you get the service from the companies, because there's not much differentiator. A lot of professional companies, they all look the same on the surface. But I think when you put somebody goes on your roof and you have a hole, they patch it right away. Great. You know, they're trying to help me. They're not just telling me, hey, you have a hole in your roof. You better get your roof done now. Like, hey, take your time. Let's patch it. You're not going to have any more problems. Maybe give them a little test to, or identify those items. If they say they're going to be there at 3, they don't call you to show up at 4. That's a strike for sure. They're not going to be different when the production comes.
What are your annual sales? Alan Ross was asking. What did you do last year?
29, right under 30. Really mad about this. A few thousand from 30, but yes.
Few thousand?
Yes, very close. That was a gross last year.
Do you do insurance work? How's the hail market in South Carolina?
Yes, we do a lot of work, a lot of retail work. That's our business, retail. But there's always storms on the coast. For some, we're a little bit blessed for this. It's to be able to do that. But we do a lot of restoration work, hail damage, wind damage from hurricanes mostly. Yes, and then we're trying to master the process with Xactimates. We create Xactimates for the insurance adjuster. We have a photo report. We provide them ESX files, measurements of the roof to the insurance company, to the adjuster. So again, like Apple was saying, I want to make the user end friendly, so it's easy to use Monarch Roofing because we do the work for them. So make it easy for adjuster to do their job. So
you don't have a lot of fights with approvals. You don't have a lot of.
Not really, and we hear this a lot. But I feel like one of the biggest problem with this is contractor not communicate the language of adjuster. If I give you an estimate that's on a paper or an Xactimate, that's two different things. So if you say I need to get more money, and you're not type in an Xactimate to say I need more money for these items, it's not going to work. So we're mastering Xactimates estimates so we can have the same language with insurance companies. But mostly, like, again, if you have like, drippage is code here, but you can tell this to the adjuster, drippage is code, but that doesn't do anything. You have to give them the paperwork. So we have to call the county, get a letter that says drippage is required, or we're using the 2019 International Building Code, let's say. You can give them the tools for them to approve it. So there's no fight, you cannot, data is data. Like, hey, this is what I have to do to get the roof done.
I wish it always worked like that with insurance companies. They know not to always be reasonable, but it's great attitude. I think it also changed with attitude. Like when you have great attitude of the contractor, I think other side can be very receptive to it.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I don't think we have that much, and I hear a lot of different things. I'm hearing a couple of adjusters saying that there's some companies, and you might be more exposed to this, but they're coming back after the job is completed. They hire supplement companies. I Googled a few companies that go back and trying to fight to get more money out of the job. So I feel that might not be the right way to do business. If you have an adjuster, we agree on a price, I'm satisfied with it, I'm going to produce a job. But they got another company send in supplement to get more money. So they get paid percentage on supplements. I'm like, why? It's like, you already have what you need to get the roof done. Don't abuse it, kind of. So we're not a supplement driven business. That's not what I meant, but we want to, so we can compare it so it's proper. If we get what we need to get a roof done, we get a regular estimate that compares the Xactimate, then it's done. We don't have to fight about it. If they're missing the drippage, but their price is for a regular roof. Let's say we can do a System Plus or Silver Pledge. We're not going to fight to get it. We're not going to be annoying to get it, but we want to make sure we can get a roofing system done properly.
Monarch Roofing appears to have wonderful company culture. What system in place do they have to continue to build culture and long-term employees? Colin Taylor Crosby asking this question.
That's a great question. And culture, again, we talk about this, it's thrown around a lot, man. But I have a core values. Our core values, consistency, real, own it, winners win, and no excuse. It spells the crown. We have it on our wall. We have it all our companies, different places. And we get together a lot. We talk like meetings. Everybody hates meetings, right? But we meet every morning at 6:30 for production and sales at 7. And the management, the leadership needs to come up with good content, because nobody's going to be meetings the content's bad. It's a little bit like social media. If you have bad content, nobody's going to watch it. But if you have good content, you can post as many times as you want. So to keep people together, one crown sometimes becomes difficult, because if you have, and we've seen this if you pay commission, people are becoming a little bit selfish sometimes. So they don't share as much together. They want themselves to make their money. So by being salaried, it helps, I think, a little bit because we want to share. I want you to do well. I want you to do well. So the togetherness makes it a little bit differently in one crown. So we're trying to do quarterly. It's been hard because of COVID last year, but quarterly event altogether, it costs. But again, if you can create a winning activities, then people are engaged, then they're fulfilled, then they're happy, they're successful. It trickles out for sure.
Joe Wallace asks, hurricane hits the area. What's their course of action to deal with influx of calls, appointments that needs to be run?
Well, we're a little bit privileged because we have 3 locations right now, so we can have extra help from other places. Yes, that helps us. I remember when we had a hurricane, without this system, it's a disaster, right? Everybody's so busy, you can only do so much. We're usually trying to freeze some of the production and do a little bit, we do cross-training, like everybody gets through the university, even if you're in social media, digital marketing, you're gonna go through the sales training so we can identify hell, so we can help. Maybe not same, but a superintendent, production are cross-trained to identify problems or to help to do some patchwork. So they're ready to go if there is something like this. But the phone calls, it gets really crazy. But I think when we divide, let's say a hurricane's gonna hit the whole coast, right? So let's say we do postcards in some areas, we're gonna do different phone numbers for each of the publicity. So it doesn't go through one person's phone calls because they can't keep up with it. If you have a centralized phone number and it goes to other people, they can transfer it. But a lot of times from our experience, it kind of clogs or people, they're just on the phone forever. So we're trying to make it to different phone numbers. So the company, it can be more specific and somebody can actually pick up. But I don't think anybody can handle, we went through it. The volume from hurricanes, it becomes too much. And it's the biggest advice I can give you is you have to be ultra organized to keep the names where you went to. The first hurricane we went through, we had a lot of calls. We started patching a lot of roof, tarping, and then we didn't remember where we were because the superintendent was tarping roofs and then they never got the address. We're just like, yeah, I'll send you somebody. We'll send you somebody. So after a while, like, oh my gosh, where were you? And then why we did all this work? Where's the money? Like we're not collecting anything. So to be organized to keep the leads, like we use CRM software, but don't rush through it. Just take it as it comes. It's crazy, but set expectations properly. Just like the shingles right now, it's really hard to get materials. You run out of color sometimes. So if you set an expectation with homeowner, they know there's a hurricane. They know there's a shortage of materials. So if they know coming in that it might be 2 weeks before you get there, if you can temporarily tarp it, great. Then I'll get back with you in 2 weeks and 3 weeks. Set expectations. They know it's going to be a little while. If you don't tell them, then they don't know, right? So I think setting expectation and be organized to your data entry. Take your time through it. Don't rush through it.
Satire Moore asking, what business decisions led to the biggest growth? What decisions made the roofing process run more smoothly? What technology, app, software do they use?
Okay, so the growth, like we didn't have a CRM for the longest time. When we had about 4 to 6 million, we started having a CRM, which is basic, right? You gotta have a CRM. So that was the possibility to grow, was adding leadership. So that was really big. So I'm assuming everybody has CRMs, but like we use AccuLinks for what we do. But I think there is more to it. Once you get to a certain level, we started using Follow-Up Bus. It's more towards real estate companies, but we use it for all the emails or
Follow-Up Bus?
Yeah. It's an awesome company that we just started using. It took us like almost, it's crazy, like and we're still making it better, but 6 months to a year to really be able to implement it. But it's awesome because you can select action plans that would trigger automatic text message emails and reminders, a task to do. So you can keep your team focused on what it's for inside sales, application mostly. And I love that. That's for growth to maximize sales. You want to increase your closing percentage, you need something like that. Because, and I love AccuLinks for production, but it's not so built for sales. So that was as far as software, that was a big advantage for us.
Love it.
Who drives your trailers?
Superintendents. Yeah, drives in the morning to the job site and they get the job started. And we have 1 superintendent per project. So, and I'm not talking new construction is a little bit different, but re-roof, the tear-off division, removal, installing new shingles. We have one superintendent per job. We don't want to get the sales involved. It's very specific. We talk about, and I think a lot of successful growing companies, that's where they're going to. It's really specifically marketing, sales, production, warranty department, but the production is responsible to produce the job, but there are superintendents, one per job to ensure quality, customer service, and again, to focus on creative promoters with homeowners. Like, if we can get referrals, that's all we really need to focus on. Quit focusing on doing marketing, billboards, spend a bunch of money. Let's give it back to the homeowner. It costs a little bit more to have one superintendent, but we don't have any go back. So many times you have a gutter that's broken, trash left on the ground. It doesn't happen. The tarp's always installed. The covers on air conditioning is always installed. The wonders we knock on the door, you see a Monarch employee.
So how many superintendents do you have right now?
Hilton Head, there's 7. There's, I think, 6 in Myrtle Beach and 3 in Wilmington for that division. But
probably the hardest question in the roofing industry now, and a lot of startup companies are really struggling with it. Let's talk about work comp expenses. How much do you pay in work comp? How do you get away with so many employees? And what are rates? How do you classify your sales guys? You have outside sales. They're not roofers, but they do get on the roofs. You have superintendents who insurance probably wants you to classify them as roofers as well, but they're not roofers, but they do get on the roof. So how do you get away without paying, millions to work on?
Well, we do pay a lot, and it's always this and just auto insurance, because the trailers are pretty heavy, so the trucks and stuff, and we pay a lot of insurance. I don't know if there was any way around it. But we have
from your sales, how much do you budget for insurance costs, like auto and work comp and liability? Is it a couple percent, 5%?
It's a good question. I don't know this on top of my head, but I know it's like
big
hundreds of thousands every year in insurance, like solid. Yeah, it's too much for sure. So.
It's too much, but it's not as much as
3%.
We have 50% of, for roofers.
Installers is crazy. Yeah. But we have we'll be able to qualify it properly, inside, office employees. There's a lot of work that goes behind it. Actually, you saw Ray coming in. He's our insurance agent. Mm-hmm. We get close with him to make sure we qualify people properly. But the rates that's a good question for sure.
So,
what are the average rate for someone who's not in the office but around the job, like superintendent, for example? If they're not 50%, what are they, 12%?
I think it's 20-some percent.
20%.
Yeah, on the field employees.
On their salary.
Yes. Yeah.
That's crazy. So if you pay someone $100,000, you pay $20,000 to work on.
Yeah.
Wow. Any advice to owners? How to get better deals, or how to protect the employees, but at the same time, how to save maybe? Give a couple of tips about insurance.
What helped us a little bit is go through OSHA classes. That was, it doesn't affect your rates that much, but I feel like there's a lot of relationship going with your insurance companies. If they feel like you're at risk, they give you points, different points level. So you want to keep your points lower, so you're not in a very high risk company. So we had to do this even for a driver. We'll go online and have driver schools so they can get, you can drive our trucks. We have so many trucks, it's easy to have an accident, right? If you have 100 trucks on the road, it's probably gonna happen pretty often. So we keep getting training online for the drivers. But that's a good question to ask your agent. I would definitely do that. Ask your agent, hey, how can I lower it? What are your insurance? Because insurance companies will have different, little bit for a hailstorm, different coverage. Same thing for this. What is something that would trigger to go down a little bit? When we install roofing, we ask about the wind and hail mitigation forms. I don't know if something you have in your area, but the forms are a little bit different for each companies. Some of them, they can qualify with a new roof. They'll save money, re-nail the plywood, tape the seams, do gable end bracing. So they tell, I'm going to save 10% doing this. Well, let's do it so we can save money on your insurance, homeowner insurance. So a good way to do it just by asking your insurance carrier. But I know OSHA classes helps a lot. Online driving schools help a lot, and they're not long. You can do it in a few hours.
Awesome. Can I get a commitment from you to comment, to read the comments to this video and to answer questions if our audience have?
Absolutely. I would love that for sure, Dimitri.
Love it. So guys, if you have any questions about how Monarch Roofing doing business, comment below. We would like to hear from you, and maybe compliment Monarch Roofing for amazing success story. Absolutely love being here. Comment away. Like the video if you want to see more videos like this, want us to come to more amazing companies. I'll see you guys in the next video.